Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. I'm Brian, Mr. Smith. This is my new kitchen. It's a small kitchen, but all the same. Anyhow, so if you're new to my channel, welcome. Glad you found me. Hope you stick around. We do lots of cool things here. And if you're returning, I'm glad you came back. Really. I always appreciate anybody who takes time out of their day to listen to me ramble and talk, or cook, or bake, or whatever. If you are new, Tuesdays, we try to just sit around and talk about whatever. Lately, since I've been moving, we've just been kind of doing updates on what's going on in the house and things of that nature. Wednesdays, we try to cook dinner. Thursdays, we try to bake or do whatever, but we also do other things. We do, I see Abby right there in the background. But we do some canning, some food preserving. We also do a little bit of woodworking, just whatever comes to mind. And but tonight we're going to hold on one second. I got to choose between a caramel, a crispy crunch, and an almond. And it's always going to be a caramel, which means I just spent $1. But
well, it's free.
oh, okay. Well, somebody just spent $1 on me.
I
Ain't
did.
that cool?
I love you.
So I love you too. That was Sarah who just sold me bought me the caramel bar. But so anyhow, but we do lots of things. I just document what happens in my life as we go. So that way, hopefully you guys can learn something from me, or I may learn something from you if you leave me a comment, and so on and so forth. But anyhow, I didn't get to do dinner last night, which was Wednesday. So we're going to do dinner tonight. I didn't even get to make cookies today like I wanted to. We're still steadily organizing and getting the last few things moved over. Still got to focus on doing a couple of things over at the old house. And, oh yeah, I see. You okay? All right. But we're getting there. I hope to be back to somewhat normal in the next week or so. But anyhow, like I said, if you're new, hit the subscribe button. That would be awesome. Join our community. Notification if you want to know when my videos come out. Thumbs up and thumbs down are always appreciated, but not necessary. And comments, always love comments. The more the merrier. All I ask is you keep them respectful. Our community is all age groups and social statuses and levels of whatever you want to call it. And so we try to keep it polite around here. We want to have a good community. All right, so tonight for dinner, it's the first dinner I've cooked here. We're going to do a seafood boil. It started out as a Buford's stew or a Buford's boil, and it's something I've made a couple times now, and it's really good, although we're doing some new stuff to it. Normally it just involves shrimp, but this time we're putting in some crabs, some scallops, we're going to do some shrimp, and we're going to try a different seasoning pack. So that being said, let's go over the ingredients list. Let me bring the camera down and we'll look at what all we have for ingredients. It's really easy, very simple. Things you will need to make this dish with is simply one pot with a lid, and that's really it. As far as tools, something to maybe stir it with along the way, a spoon or a spatula or something like that. All right, so you've got your pot with your lid. The other ingredients you will need. Now, you can make this as large or as small as you want, depending on how many people you're feeding. So I'm just going to tell you what the ingredients list is I have, although even I've adjusted it. It calls for 10 red potatoes, which I have in here. I also have 1 chopped onion. I added that. Now, I also have more than 10 red potatoes. You put in as many potatoes as you like. But you want those potatoes in there because you want that little bit of starchiness to come out into the water and help flavor things. And like I said, I added the onion because we like onion. And it's not something you have to eat. That's the beauty of boils. So you've got your red potatoes, as many as you want, but at least 10 is what the recipe calls for. The onion is an addition, doesn't call for that. And then you're going to need 10 half ears of corn. So you just take 5 ears of corn and cut them in half. These happen to be the frozen variety because fresh corn's out of season here. And then you want a pound of smoked sausage or andouille sausage. This is Cajun style andouille sausage that I have here. It's completely up to you if that's what you like to have in it. And then, in addition to that, now the smoked sausage, the pounded smoked sausage, is not in the original. Or yeah, it is. Yeah, the pounded smoked sausage is in the original recipe. You want to add a pound of shrimp. Now the recipe calls for uncooked, just raw shrimp, and you can go that route. And last time we did, and it turned out fine. I always get mine at least peeled and deveined. This go around, they had cooked shrimp on sale at the store, so I went ahead and got cooked shrimp. And the only thing that varies is we'll just add this in at the very last minute because it's already cooked. All we have to do is just make sure it's warmed up. So we've got a pound of shrimp, your choice, cooked or uncooked. I'll tell you how to do both. And then in here we've got a pound of crab meat and a pound of scallions. Okay. The last two ingredients you will need is a teaspoon of lemon juice and a seasoning, a crab boil seasoning of your choice. This happens to be Zatarain's crab boil seasoning in a bag. You can also use Old Bay, which I have in the spice cabinet somewhere. But you can use Old Bay. There are, you could. I can't think of the other one that is out there. But there's a bunch of them. Get one that's at your grocery store, or if you have one you like already that you use for other dishes, use it. Make it so it's comfortable for you. If you don't like crab, you don't like scallions, don't put that in. If you don't like, shrimp would be kind of pointless to do a seafood, but if you don't want a whole lot of andouille sausage, or you like smoked sausage, or you like kielbasa, you make it how you want to make it. This dish is a bazillion-year-old Cajun dish, and it's made 100 different ways. But boils essentially always have a sausage of some sort, a corn of some sort, or corn and potatoes and a seafood. So the varieties are endless. All right, so how do we make this, you ask? It's really easy. What we're going to do in our pot, we're going to put our potatoes and onions in there. Then we're just going to add our corn and our sausage. The seafood we're not going to put in until the very end. You want to make sure, because even uncooked seafood only takes about 5 minutes tops to cook. It doesn't take long at all. All right, so then we got that in the bowl, and then all we're going to do is fill this up with water. And that's essentially, how you make a boil. It's called a seafood boil because we're boiling it. Let me get this down in here and we'll do it the quick way. Ugh. So when you put your water in your pot, you only want to fill it to where it's about an inch above the stuff that's in your pot. You don't have to fill it clear full. Get our water in there. All right, got our water in. And it's covered by about an inch. Now the corn is starting to float because it's corn. Put it on the stove. We're going to add our lemon juice. And you also want to add your seasoning. In this case, it's just the seasoning bag. You don't have to break. If you buy this, it's Zatarain seasoning bag. If you buy it, you don't have to open it up. I mean, you can, but essentially we're going to get rid of this. The seasoning's just there to infuse into the food. It's not there to stay coated on it, if that makes sense. So the next thing we're going to do is turn our burner on. We're going to bring this up to a boil. And after it starts to boil, we're going to turn it down to a simmer. And we're going to let this simmer for about 15 minutes. All right, so we're going to get that going, and I'll see you back here in just 1 millisecond, or 15 seconds for me, or 15 minutes for me. All right, so we've let this simmer. We brought it up to a boil, and we let it simmer for about 15 minutes. with the lid on it, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. Always use the lid when boiling. It helps it to boil quicker and more evenly. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our shrimp, our crab, and our scallops to the mix. Okay. Yeah, you're nuts. And we'll get those stirred in real good. And then we're gonna let it simmer for about another 3 to 5 minutes. We just want to, in this case, seafood doesn't take long to cook. It takes about 5 minutes. If you're using raw shrimp, like I said, this time we found cooked shrimp on sales. We got it. But you're looking for the shrimp to go from the kind of gray color that it is to a opaque, like pink color, along with your crab and things like that. And almost all seafood takes about 5 minutes to cook. So we're going to go ahead and let that continue to simmer for 5 minutes. And then we can do the next step after that. Although, I was thinking, I couldn't figure out for the life of me how anybody could really function in a kitchen this small. Because, if you're new to the channel, this is literally my entire kitchen right here. You're looking at that wall right there's the dining room, and then you've got the back door and the window. It is maybe 8 by 12. And I really couldn't figure out how anybody could make this happen. Well, the more I thought about it, the more I thought to myself, this house was built in 1946, just shortly after the war ended, World War II. And at that time, yes, there was a lot of cooking that went on. And there was also a lot going out to dinner. Not in that aspect, not a whole lot changed. But you didn't have quite the things we have now. You didn't have 50 million gadgets. You went to the grocery store at that time. It was the wife stayed home and the husband went to work. So one of the responsibilities of that time was, you pretty much went to the grocery store every day, or every other day, so you didn't need a lot of room for groceries or dry goods or things like that. That wasn't essential, and there wasn't a giant variety of things, food-wise, like there is now. There were some, but for the most part, looking back on old recipes, you did a lot of meats and things like that, and vegetables, but it was all fresh. Canned goods were just kind of coming into being the rage. It seems like everything was made with a Jello of some type. But you didn't need a huge kitchen in 1946. Plus in the dining room we got all that cabinets. So most of your utensils and your dishware would stay out there, which would leave you these few cabinets here, so to speak, although I'm pretty sure these aren't the original cabinets to the house. And your refrigerator wasn't that big. Your stove, I know the stoves weren't quite as big as these. My great aunt, up until probably 1990, my great aunt Norma, up until about 1990, had her original gas stove and original deep freeze from her house in 1955. And they weren't huge by any means. They were good. Obviously, they lasted a lifetime. And when she got rid of them, they worked. But all the same, you wouldn't have really needed a kitchen this big. So we're making it work for now. But like I said in the video on Tuesday, I still have plans of putting a kitchen down in the basement. I need something with a little more space and a little more readiness to suit our needs. We don't eat out a whole lot. All right, so I'm going to let this go for a couple more minutes, and when I get back, we'll move on to the next step, but I just thought that'd be an interesting side note. And I'll show you what to do next, then we'll give it a try. All right, I'll see you here in 1 minute. Okay, so we went 5 minutes, and we've got our scallions and shrimp and crab. We're all heated up, so the next step we got to do is, we're pretty much done. This meal, realistically, it only takes about 25 minutes to cook. This would be a good weeknight meal to cook for the family and have leftovers. So we're going to take our pot and we're just going to pour it into the colander. We're not keeping any of the juice. Now, here you have options. You can, if you wish, just leave it in the pot and serve it straight from the pot with the juice and all. But we don't. I mean, traditionally, you dump it out. You know, dump the juice out. And try not to spill half of it into your sink. So we dump the juice out, or dump the water out, take the seasoning pack out, give it a good shake, and pour it into a bowl. And make sure you make a colossal mess in the process. That's the important part, is making a mess. All right. There is that. And right there is our finished product. And that is our boil. We've got crab in there, we've got shrimp, we've got scallions, we've got potatoes, and whoo-wee, does that have a zing to it. I just ate a piece of the sausage. Now, if you've never had andouille sausage before, it's got a bit of a kick in and of its own. The potatoes are to perfection. Now, to serve this, it's literally just a pair of tongs and some plates. Cornbread would also go good with this. Sorry, I'm getting what's left out of the strainer out. You don't want to waste any of that. And then just throw a little salt and pepper or some hot sauce on it. Whatever additional toppings you want afterwards. But the whole point of a boil is you take those seasonings, and as you boil it, you're infusing it into the corn, a little bit into the potatoes, into the meats, you know, and that'll give you good flavor into that. But you're just boiling your food. It's kind of a poor man's dish. Well, in Cajun country, it'd be a poor man's dish. Here in Ohio, seafood's really expensive at the moment. I was going to do lobster instead of crab in this, and I mean, just a pound of lobster was like $45, and that's, you know, even out of our budget. So instead, we opted for crab, which was a little cheaper. Well, a lot cheaper. So, I mean, I can sit here and, I mean, I know how it tastes. And it's perfect. I mean, really, the Zatarain seasoning or whatever seasoning you like, it just soaks right into that crab. The potatoes are good. Now, you can cut your potatoes in half, which will allow more of that flavor to soak into the meat of the potato. Yeah, and it soaks into the corn. If you've never tried Zatarain's crab boil, I would definitely give that a shot. I like that, but I've yet to find a crab boil seasoning mix that isn't bad. Old Bay is another one that's really good, in my opinion. And it tastes good. All right, well, I hope you give this a shot. Like I said, it's not hard to make. You know, it's just 5 ears of corn cut in half, or in your frozen food aisle, they've got the already done up ears of corn. 10 of those, 10 red potatoes. I add an onion to it, a pound of shrimp, a pound of crab, a pound of scallions. I got an Abby trying to pick me up. And a teaspoon of lemon juice and your seasoning pack. That's it. No more, no less. And then you can sit down, dump it on a plate, use your fingers, and have good conversation and a good time. You can serve cornbread with this also. It's always good. Cornbread is always good. Always. Always, always. So, that being said, I'm going to go set this on the dinner table, and we're going to have our first home-cooked meal here in our new house. All right? Let me know if you try this. Hands down. Let me know if you try this. Let me know what you think, what your experience was. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, tell me to go jump in a lake or say it was the most amazing thing ever. Whatever you want to do. All right? I love you. I love you very much. Tell somebody else you love them and you love them very much. It's going to make their day a whole lot better. it's going to make you feel a whole lot better. And I will see you next week for a new house update, if not sooner. All right, I'll talk to you later. Love you. Bye.